rose from the ashes of a devastating fire to make it to the Top Fuel final.
It was devastating. I mean, I felt like I wanted to die.
Defending champ Paul Romine picked up where he left off, capturing the first event of the year.
All right. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Pro Mod Scott brothers, Quinn and Mitch, a couple of characters, entertained us on and off the track.
He's screwing up, but I ain't intelligent.
But it was the dark horse Alan Pittman beating Mitch in the final.
Man, I love y'all. I love everybody. Everybody.
Doug Vansel squared off in the finals of the Nitro Harleys against Johnny Mancuso. It's Mancuso wrestling that 700 horsepower bike down the quarter mile to hold on. Lasso, the first Iron Man of the year.
What an ugly, beautiful win. They were better today. Tomorrow's coming.
Tomorrow is here, and the venue is the Virginia Motorsports Park in Richmond, Virginia. Richmond, Virginia, an area steeped in Civil War history. The battles were waged on green fields with cannons. And today's battles are of a different type, fought on a quarter-mile strip where horsepower is king. Welcome to the Virginia Motorsports Park in Richmond, Virginia for the AC Delco Nationals, presented by Chevrolet.
Hello everyone, I'm your host James Bates. Welcome to week number 2 on the 2001 IHRA Summit Drag Racing Series. Week 1 was full of excitement, emotion, and speed, and you better believe there's a whole lot more to come in week 2 from Richmond. I'm joined by world-class drag racer Bruno Masso. Welcome to the show, Bruno. What can we expect in Richmond?
Well, it's week 2, James, and everyone's still trying to make early season adjustments, trying to find just the right combination for victory.
Today and for the next 10 weeks on TNN, we'll feature 3 professional categories: Top Fuel, Pro Modified, and the Nitro Harley.
In Top Fuel, the defending world champion Paul Romine looks to stay focused and make it 2 event wins in a row.
How about those Pro Mods?
In the high-powered Pro Mods, James, you've got the ever-entertaining and competitive Stockland. We'll be checking in with them.
The volatile and always unpredictable Nitro Harleys, always a load of excitement.
One competitor that didn't make it to final eliminations was the legendary Shirley Muldowney. Shirley's doing fine after surviving a big fire during qualifying.
We'll recap that in a bit, but first it's first round action in the Top Fuel ranks. Here's Bruce Litton going up against Louis Allison.
There's Bruce Litton last week finishing second. Really a monumental victory considering what this man's been through.
A real tribute to teamwork for them to come back so quickly.
And to recap the Bruce Litton story, we take you to his race shop, which housed all of his racing equipment in Indianapolis, Indiana. Also a 10-year labor of love, a replica of his hometown in Oneida, Tennessee. Then tragically, while at the IHRA Awards banquet last January in Kentucky, everything burnt to the ground. Nothing left but ashes.
It was stuff that belonged to my family, it was my family's heritage, and, you know, it hurt.
Getting through the pain and qualifying number 3 here in Richmond, he'll take on Louis Allison. Dean Romine, Bailey Head, Howard and Milliken also qualifying.
There's Litton with Filton's car. Last week he was the runner-up, trying to go one step further and win it all here in Richmond.
Here's Louis Allison, his competition in round 1.
The Vista Foods Dragster's a number 6 qualifier. He's going to have to step on it here to take on Bruce Litton.
He'll have to fly a mile high today in Richmond. From Denver, Colorado, number 7 in points last season. Let's see what he's got today at the Virginia Motorsports Park.
Both cars staging up here for the first round battle. First round's usually the toughest.
There's Reed. Here we go. And Litton continuing the winning ways, taking out Louis Allison with a 477.
And Bruce Litton did it the old-fashioned way with horsepower. The 477 with a 6 at over 309 miles an hour. And I'll tell you, the first round's always a tough one because you've got to make a guess on the track conditions. And you know what? That Wicks Filters team, they guessed right.
A very hot one today in Richmond, Virginia. And Bruce Litton will take that heat to the second round. Let's stay in first round action now and check out Roger Dean. He heads up with last week's champion, Paul Romine. Romine burning into the first round with a number 2 qualifying time. Roger Dean qualified 9th, and he's the alternate as he fills in for the legendary Shirley Muldowney.
It was the last qualifying attempt under the Night of Fire. Shirley Muldowney on a good, strong run, put her into the show, but at the light, the motor explodes, cuts the rear tire, and Shirley goes into the wall. Her driving experience saved her on this run, I'll tell you that, because that could have been disastrous. Shirley kept her composure. Look at that, keeps the car straight, and rubs it up against the wall to knock off some speed.
The 61-year-old Muldowney left lane, gets off nicely at that light and on down the track cleanly until the finish line.
And that's where that bomb went off. The fire engulfed the back of that car, cutting the rear tire. Shirley, with all her years of experience, knew that her parachutes wouldn't work. They'd be eaten by that fire. She brings it over to the wall to knock off some speed and get the car to a stop.
So too much work to do to that hot pink dragster in too little time to make it to round 1. Shirley Muldowney and crew had a lot of talking to do as they took that dragster all the way back to Michigan. But fortunately, Shirley unscathed. And consequently, the first alternate, Roger Dean, slips into the first round for the second week in a row.
Roger Dean had some problems at qualifying. I don't know that his motor's quite healthy either.
You want help? How about last week's winner, Paul Romine? He took it all at the Rock. 3-time IHRA top fuel champion. This guy has an eye for detail and rides with a lot of emotion down that quarter mile.
Roger Dean, that 49-year-old insurance agent, racing is a part-time thing for him. It's his passion. He's got that voluntary pit crew. These guys are out there for the pure love of the sport.
Not too sure that crew's loving what's going on with the motor of Roger Dean right now in round 1, Bruno.
That engine, I don't know what it is, but it just doesn't sound right.
And it's not right as Dean stays still at the tree. Here comes Romine down the strip.
Romine took it easy, I think. Just wanted to get a tune-up on the racetrack, a handle on the starting line. Roger Dean staged it up, took a shot, and Paul Romine called his bluff.
The card shark, Paul Romine, 3-time IHRA champion. Moving on to round 2. There's 2000 Rookie of the Year, Clay Milliken, the Tennessean. He's ready for round 1 action. He'll go up against Tracy Howard. He didn't look very good with that 577, but he made it to the first round, Bruno.
He struggled all weekend.
On board with Milliken, thanks to Werner Enterprises, that in-car cam. Looking right down that quarter mile. And amongst the onlookers today, how about this? Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas. A great dance with the Warner jersey on. They're ready for round 1 action. And not disappointing, Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas. Clay Milliken down that track, 468 with a 7. And the ruling on this one is a big thumbs up for that Warner Enterprises dragster.
Clay Milliken on a heck of a run. He threw his qualifying time of 4:68 with a 7. The car stays glued to the track, and check out the judge.
The judge is a big motorsports fan. His first taste of drag racing here in Virginia. He gives it a big hit. And from behind, his son to his right of him, Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas. Hey! Get those hands up. Not even feigning impartiality here. Back on board, Clay Milliken in control.
Had a good run.
You're consistent.
Yeah, I think we went 68 again, I think. 311 or something like that.
Yeah.
Good run. This is Mike Clover, Warner Enterprises car, just trucking right down through there. I tell you what, make me look good because I don't have to do nothing when they run like that. You just go right down through there, and I tell you what, the Warner Enterprises car is just trucking. We poured in some good Royal Purple oil. The thing just trucks. It don't hurt anything. Knock on wood, because I'm a little hard-headed here every now and then, but man, oh man, it makes it easy on me. I just love them when they go like that. It's fun.
Were you nervous? Clarence Thomas was right behind there.
I tell you what, talking about being judged. That's what I call being judged.
Too bad our man Clay Milliken is in such a bad mood in Virginia. He'll take on Jim Head, Paul Romine, and Bruce Litton, matching up in a rematch of last week's final. Up next on the IHRA Summit Drag Racing Series on TNN, no modified category. As we return to the AC Delco Nationals, brought to you by Chevrolet. TNN coverage of IHRA Summit Drag Racing is brought to you by Harley, the heart and soul of performance. And by CarQuest Auto Parts. You'll find it at CarQuest.